Well, it's 3:30 in the morning. I get up pretty early. Um, and usually I try to do these when the sun's up and the lighting is better, but I think this is okay. And I just have some things I'd like to say, and I'd like to try to be consistent in creating these videos, knowing that it may be a year from now that you'll see this. But now that we've laid a foundation for sort of what our experience is, what my experience is, now it's time to get to work. So the main thing I want to say to you today is you have to take control of your not just your life but your homeless experience. In other words, don't look over the next mountain range thinking that all your solutions are there. Don't look to housing as the way to fix everything that's gone wrong with your life. And don't look to other people to blame, even if there are always other factors beyond your control, and life isn't fair and society isn't fair. The fact of the matter is, you're the one that's homeless. You're the one that has to change what you can change. So, the first assignment that I have for you is to begin the steps you need to take to bloom where you're planted. In other words, make the most of this situation as it is and slowly work your way to a better situation. The first step is simply accepting that you're there because of things that you did. You're there because of things that you didn't react well to. You're there because even though society and other people can be unfair, you turned it into something worse rather than figuring out how to turn it into something better. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a toxic situation, or a job that you just hated to the point where you actually didn't move on, you got fired. So this morning, I want to give you one assignment, and I'd love to hear as much feedback as you're willing to offer. And again, my number is 702. I have to look it up. I think I've told you all before. I can't remember things so well anymore. I apologize for that, but so I have to check my cheat sheet. 702 601 4502. That's one of the issues that I'm having to deal with is this memory loss. Anyway, but I do remember on my email address, ron.moore, moore.writer, writer, at gmail.com. Please communicate with me. Anyway, so, so for this beginning of the assignments portion of this video series, I want you to simply take a sheet of paper, or if you have a notebook, something that you can use and keep private. This isn't something that you need to share with everybody. It's your own. You can't be honest with yourself if you're sharing with an audience. It's only human nature to put the best face on everything that we've done or everything that we're experiencing. So, I want you to go back in your mind and think of the steps that got you into homelessness and just start write the story of the day you became homeless and then go back from there. How did you get in a position where you were so vulnerable, where you had no safety net, where you had no choice but no choices? In other words, homelessness happened to you. You didn't sit down one day and choose to be homeless. Sometimes folks think that it's, a little bit of a romantic notion to sort of be on the streets and be out on your own, the old hobo, if you will, catching a ride on the freighter train. I actually sat beside someone, I used to write movie reviews, and I sat beside someone from the TED Talks organization once at a screening in DC, where I'm from, and told her that it was my first time back to my home area since being homeless there. And she immediately started to talk about how that is something she'd like to try. Well, she doesn't understand what actual homelessness is. As much as I'd like for our city leaders, for those that are in a position to help or to hurt us, to go on essentially a ride along and spend 48 hours homeless, not 48 hours with the homeless, but 48 hours actually homeless with no safety net, no phone, so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is, it's a terrible way of life, and and this is your opportunity to make the most of today, to figure out, just like my old shelter, Catholic Charities, threatened to kick me out because I called myself a resident. Well, I think you should think of yourself as a resident of your situation. You are residing either in a shelter or on the street, either because you chose one or the other, or because you're in a position right now in your life where you don't feel you have a choice. So start telling the story of the day you became homeless, the times you've become homeless. I've been homeless 7 times. And the steps that got you there. Why are you no longer in your home? Why are you no longer working at your job? Why are you no longer healthy? Why are you no longer able to function in society? All of these things will give you insights into what you can change and what you have to live with. It will give you insights into what issues you need to seek help for, whether that's mental health, addiction, or getting a copy of your birth certificate. We're going to go into all of that, but first, you need to identify what you're lacking, where you've made wrong turns, where you've made wrong decisions, and then figure out how you can solve some of those problems, while at the same time identifying what you need right now. Do you need a mailing address? Do you need a phone? Do you need clothes? Do you need counseling? Do you need to see a doctor? All of these things will allow you to build a support framework. I told myself when I started this journey that I would never lie to a healthcare worker. I would never lie to someone who was sincerely trying to help me. And that's not easy, because you want to not lie so much as you want to keep some things to yourself. Or I run into the problem sometimes of oversharing. In other words, I want so much to be honest that I end up sharing things that are simply an indulgence for me to share. They really have nothing to do with, solving my problems. They're merely just describing my problems over and over and over again as if I need to be heard. Some of that's okay, but sometimes I take it a little too far. So today, as you see this video, sit down and just start to remember, your mistakes. Remember the factors that contributed to where you are today. And from there, then you'll break down what you could have done differently, even though it's too late, and what you can do to solve the problem that caused that portion of your breakdown in life. It'll take you some time, but I think that the bottom line is you have to be your best hero. You have to be the person who's going to rescue you. There are people who are going to help you. People are going to provide you with things that you desperately need. People are going to show you compassion. But if those people become the reason that you got out of this life, that you survived, and you haven't corrected the parts of your psyche that blamed other people in the past, those people are going to become your new villains because they can't do everything you need. Then you're going to feel like, well, if you can't do everything I think I need, then I'm not going to go to you for anything. To look to yourself for support while you're getting help from others, but to ultimately know that you need, in order to be whole again, you need to see yourself as the one that you can turn to. Because guess what? You're going to be with yourself whether you like it or not, whether these people come and go. So it's better that you strengthen yourself, you build up yourself, and you support yourself, and just bloom where you're planted. Stay homeless and make the most of the experience and accept the fact that you're there, and then start to build the steps that will get you out of there. The first step is understanding why you got there in the first place. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for viewing, for sharing, and for supporting this effort of the Homeless Helping Homeless. And again, feel free to contact me at, I'll just give my email address because I can remember that off the top of my head, ron.moore.writer@gmail.com. Thanks again, and until next time, be strong and believe in yourself.